El Monitor News issued a report on September 15, 2017, regarding a non-binding amendment to the House version of the U.S. National Defense Authorizations Act. The amendment language states, recognizing the important role of the Iraqi Christian militia within the military campaign against ISIL in Iraq, and the specific threat to the Christian population in Iraq, it is the sense of Congress that the United States should provide arms, training, and appropriate equipment to vetted elements of the Nineveh Plain Council. The reference to Nineveh Plain Council in the amendment confirms the reality of a Kurdish nationalist scheme designed to prevent any progress by Free Assyrians seeking to establish a standalone Nineveh Plain province. No Nineveh Plain Council exists, except on paper. Nowhere in Iraq is there a structure called Nineveh Plain Council. Assyrians first heard of Nineveh Plain Council on June 30th, 2017, in the public report coming from the Lars Adaktusson Conference, held in Brussels. That report falsely claimed to be an original creation of the 7 participating Sepiane political parties and denied having a pre-planned agenda. However, the National Defense Authorization Act amendment language referring to Nineveh Plain Council was tabled by Congressman Trent Franks of Arizona in Washington, D.C. on June 28, 2017, 2 full days before the Brussels document was released. Brussels conference organizers and supporters can no longer claim to have brought together Christian Assyrians to debate and define an original and authentic political agreement. Congressman Trent Franks' amendment language, issued 2 full days before the Brussels document was published, exposes the lies of Adaktusson and Brussels conference sponsors, such as a demand for action and the European Syriac Union. The Assyrian Democratic Movement was the first of 3 political parties to announce their decision to boycott the Brussels conference after Adaktusson publicly called for all parties to participate. The Assyrian Democratic Movement asserted that a foreign agenda was embedded in the conference documentation and that Adaktusson was denying efforts to respect standing agreements, especially the March 6, 2017 joint statement. Viewers will recall that AMB's Spotlight provided a detailed news report backed by primary source documentation revealing how Lars Adaktusson used his Brussels conference to legitimize Kurdish nationalist annexation of the Nineveh Plain and also neutralize the March 6 joint statement. The Adaktusson Conference produced a document signed by 7 Sepiane Assyrian political parties which called for restoring a Kurdish Peshmerga security presence in the Nineveh Plain, providing a platform for Kurdish proxy political voices to determine the future of the Nineveh Plain, setting an agenda to hold a referendum on the future of the Nineveh Plain, to facilitate KRG annexation as they push forward with their independence referendum. The Sepiane political parties signing on the Brussels document were Beit Nahran Democratic Party, Beit Nahran Patriotic Union, Chaldean Assyrian Syriac Popular Council, Chaldean Democratic Forum, Chaldean National Council, Keldu Ashur Organization, Syriac Assembly Movement. The proposed Nineveh Plain Council would be elected by local councils, political parties, and NGOs, according to the Brussels document. Assyrians have already witnessed the dictatorial removal of 2 Nineveh Plain mayors by the Kurdistan Democratic Party, who replaced those mayors with those loyal to Masoud Barzani's party. All of the 7 Christian Assyrian political parties that signed the Brussels document have pledged loyalty to the Kurdistan Democratic Party. Some of them, such as the Chaldean Syriac Assyrian Popular Council, also known as Majlis Shabi, were created by the Kurdistan Regional Government's finance minister, Sepiane Sarkis Aghajian. Aghajian is also a senior-ranking member of the Kurdistan Democratic Party. Legitimate local councils and independent political parties are fictitious creations attempting to mask the brutal, absolutist control being exerted by the Kurdistan Democratic Party. There is no doubt whatsoever that the proposed Nineveh Plain Council would be a proxy voice of the Kurdistan regional government, broadly, and Kurdistan Democratic Party specifically. The Brussels document, unsurprisingly, requires the Kurdish Nationalist proposed Nineveh Plain Council to engage in a negotiation in order to achieve an agreement to have a referendum. This clearly aligns with the Kurdistan regional government's present push for an independence referendum and their publicly declared intention to impose a referendum on the Nineveh Plain. Congressman Trent Frank's National Defense Authorization Act amendment language referencing a Nineveh Plain Council confirms the existence of a foreign agenda driving the Brussels conference, and now U.S. legislation, all of which aims to enable the Kurdistan regional government's annexation of the Nineveh Plain. Lars Adaktussen's deliberate betrayal of Assyrians was revealed at the time of his conference and now confirmed. At this point in time, it remains unclear if Congressman Trent Franks is actually aware of the ramifications of his amendment language, which will advance Kurdish nationalist interest at the expense of free Assyrians. Viewers are encouraged to visit AMB TV's Facebook page or YouTube channel to view the report. The whole story behind Lars Adaktussen's betrayal of Assyrians in light of these new documents.